For this week's First Chapter Friday, I'm going to talk about a new book series, a couple book series that we just got called You Choose, and they're they're in the horror paranormal section. And I have one of the series is about monsters, like this one's Can You Track Down Bigfoot? There's also like the one about the Kraken and one about Loch Ness, Chupacabra. And then the other one is this one's called The Tower of London. And so it's about haunted places. So there's also like Alcatraz and some other like real life historical places that are supposedly haunted. So I'm going to read you a little bit of these. And the fun of a You Choose, it's a choose your own adventure book. So depending on how the choices that you make while you're reading, it's kind of interactive that way. The story might end up different depending on what you choose. So the Tower of London one, this one has 39 choices and 10 endings. And in the Bigfoot one, it has 41 choices and 20 endings. So every time you read this book, it could be a little bit different. So each of these books has a little piece at the end that gives you kind of like the background and the real life. I mean, these are like support there's some like true stuff in the books about what people really have found and really have studied and really have learned, especially the haunted places ones. These are real places. The Tower of London has actual real history. It's in London. And but the stories are the specific things that are happening are made up, so they are in the fiction section. So we'll start with Can You Track Down Bigfoot? About your adventure. You are a college professor who teaches classes about humans and their ancestors. In your spare time, you enjoy doing research on the mysterious Bigfoot. Reports about the big ape-like beast come from around the world. You'd like nothing better than to see one in person and get proof of its existence. Will you be able to track down the legendary creature? And then it gives you a little information about how to read the book. Okay. Chapter 1, Sightings. And that concludes today's lecture on evolution, you say, pointing to the screen behind you. On display is a photo of a human being on one side and a chimpanzee on the other. You've just finished teaching a class about how humans and apes are related. They're both primates and have similar genes. However, they evolved differently from the same ancestor. What about the missing link? One student asks curiously. Ah, yes, you say, rubbing your hands together. The missing link. You're talking about Bigfoot, correct? The student nods. Well, unfortunately, that topic will have to wait, you say, glancing at the clock on the wall. We've run out of time. The student and several others groan. You're a bit bummed as well. You know quite a bit about the search for the creature often known as the missing link. Class dismissed, you say. Have a great vacation. It's the beginning of spring break. Like your students, you look forward to some much-needed time away. You gather your own things, click off the screen, and exit the now empty classroom. Later at home, you think about your students' questions about Bigfoot. The study of mythical creatures, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, the Chupacabra, is called cryptozoology. You've long been interested in such things. A poster on your wall shows a still image from the Patterson-Gimlin sighting. Two ranchers, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, shot the film in 1967 near Eureka, California. It's one of the clearest images ever taken of a possible Bigfoot. Patterson and Gimlin claimed to film the creature lumbering into the woods. And there's the picture. The Patterson-Gimlin film is the main reason you joined Bigfoot Field Search and Discovery, or BFSD for short. It's a nationwide group of people trying to track down the elusive cryptid. The BFSD website is dedicated to information on the sightings of Bigfoot, and you want to check it out. You slip into a chair and open your laptop. Photographer spies Sasquatch on foggy nature walk in Washington state, reads the first post. The Pacific Northwest is a hotspot for Bigfoot sightings, the most in the country. A second post reports the sighting of a creature similar to Bigfoot in the Everglades in Florida. Known as the skunk ape, it has a powerful and smelly odor. Finally, a third post says a hiking group saw a huge furry creature in the Himalaya mountains. They think it could be a yeti. Because it's spring break, you have some time on your hands. You've never traveled anywhere to investigate Bigfoot sightings before, but you decide it's time to change that, starting now. You glance over the 3 posts and choose where in the world you'd like to go. So here's our first choice. To fly to Washington State, turn to page 13. To explore the Everglades of Florida, turn to page 42. To travel to the Himalaya Mountains in Nepal, turn to page 71. So, as the reader, you can decide which one of these adventures you want to go on. So, I think I want to go to the Himalaya Mountains in Nepal. Let's see if I can see the Yeti. Turn to page 71. The Himalayan Yeti. And this, actually, there's a picture that says, the strange tracks seen in this image taken in 1951 were thought by some to be made by a Yeti in the Himalayan mountains. Okay. The Yeti is one of the most elusive cryptids out there. You've never traveled as far as Asia and the Himalayan mountains before in your life. This opportunity is too amazing to pass up, you say. You eagerly purchase your plane ticket to Nepal that night. It's a long plane ride to Nepal. You use the time to read more information about the Yeti. The creature is also known as the abominable snowman. Its origins are found in folk tales of the Sherpa, some of the people native to Nepal. Like its Bigfoot cousin, the Yeti is supposedly 6 to 7 feet tall with brown fur. There have been many sightings and some evidence of its existence over the years. However, a lot of the Yeti evidence has proven to be from other animals or, in some cases, humans. When the plane lands, your mind is brimming with information, and you're ready to begin your search. You look out and see the beautiful mountain landscape, including Mount Everest. It takes your breath away. You rent a rickety old car and are soon driving along winding paths. After a while, you see a campsite with a small cabin and a number of tents. A woman emerges from the cabin as you park. She's in her 50s with deep brown skin and a braid of black hair. I'm Binsa Yoshi, she says as you exit the car. You must be the man searching for the Yeti. I am. Are you the person who reported the sighting? She nods. Yes, I was guiding some hikers in the lowlands when I saw a creature of some sort. It walked upright. It might have been a Himalayan brown bear, but I've never seen a bear move like that. You can feel your excitement building. Binsa is familiar with the animals in the area. If she isn't sure what she saw, then perhaps a Yeti is truly roaming nearby. That evening, you listen as the hikers tell their stories about exploring the mountain. Later, you sleep in a tent next to theirs. The wind howls at night and the temperatures plummet. When you wake the next morning, you bundle up against the freezing air. I will take you to where we saw it, Binsa says as you join her outside the tent. You shrug on your backpack and ready your camera. Lead the way, you say excitedly. Binsa begins to trek out into the snowy lowlands. You follow, your boots crunching on the snow. It's a difficult trek. After a few hours, the cloud cover is heavy. A storm is approaching. Ahead of you is a clear stretch of snow. You can move faster there. To your right is a steeper climb up a rocky ledge. That might provide some shelter from the storm. So here's our next choice. To remain on the clear stretch, turn to page 75. To take the steeper climb, turn to page 86. So we're going to stop there and move on to the next book. So I'm going to read you the beginning part also of the Tower of London, You Choose adventure. It's kind of similar. It starts off with an introduction, and then at the end, there's some information about the real Tower of London. Okay. Introduction. You are visiting the historic Tower of London. It's up to you to make the right decisions. Will you make it through the haunted castle to see another day? Oh yeah, by the way, sometimes you die in these books. Or will you become part of the tower's legend? Start by turning the page. The choices you will make will change the outcome. And there's a picture of the Tower of London. And there's actually a bunch of pictures. That's one thing I like about these books is that they're pretty well researched and they're real pictures. Like here's another picture of the real tower and how it looks now. Through the gates. Tires screech as your bus grinds to a halt. You look up from your phone and glance out the window. Outside, tourists mill about. In the distance, an old brick wall runs along the horizon. Poking above its battlements, you see the White Tower, the centerpiece of the fortress known as the Tower of London. You turn to see your best friend Jerry waving to you from the front of the bus. I have to get my stuff, you shout back. You grab your jacket off the seat. Fog is starting to roll in. It could be chilly tonight. We need to get our tickets at the Welcome Center, Jerry says. Hurry up. Then he jumps off the bus and disappears. You and your friend are here for the Twilight Tour, which focuses on the weird things that have happened at the tower. You don't really believe in ghosts, but hearing about the supernatural stuff sounded fun. Once you have your tickets, you and Jerry follow a group through a tower gate. Just on the other side waits a man dressed as a yeoman warder, an old-fashioned royal guard. The man's red and gold trimmed uniform, with its large frilly white collar and black top hat, looks funny to you. But you figure his traditional garb is meant to add some authenticity to the tour. "Welcome to the Tower of London," the guide says. "Built in 1078 as a fortress, it has also served as a palace, a royal mint, and a prison. There are 21 different towers, 13 that frame the complex, and 8 inside." Your guide goes on to tell your tour group about the royal menagerie. Past monarchs kept wild animals there for display. "Rumor has it," your guide continues, "that a ghostly menagerie member still remains." Some members of your group gasp with excitement. Your group gathers on a stone bridge. A green lawn stretches out below you. The yeoman tells you that this was once a moat. "The moat was drained by the Duke of Wellington in 1845. Occasionally, though, when the Thames River floods, the moat does as well." You cross over the bridge and then walk through another gate. You're now inside the tower's outer wall. To your left rises the bell tower. Ahead is Water Lane, a walkway that leads you to the tower's main gate. To your right, just to the other side of the outer wall, is the River Thames. As you walk, the yeoman tells you pieces of the tower's history. "Here is St. Thomas's Tower," he says, motioning to a building that stands between you and the river. "And this gate here is called Traitor's Gate," he continues. "The gate is so named because so many traitors to the crown, from Guy Fawkes to Lady Jane Grey, had entered the castle through this gate." Here's another picture. From where you stand, steps lead down to the wooden gate. "This is a water gate," the guide explains. "There's no water there now, but in the past, pumps controlled the water level so that boats could pass through. Those who were executed," your guide continues, "had their heads displayed on poles along London Bridge, just downriver from here." "Cool," Jerry whispers in your ear. "This is the weird type of stuff that I want to hear about." You're excited too. Your group moves on. You enter the inner walls through a gate under a squat rectangular building that your guide calls the Bloody Tower. Jerry catches your arm and you hang back. "Let's go down there," your friend says, nodding toward the Traitor's Gate. "Sure, why not?" you say. "We can always catch up with the group." You cross back through the Bloody Tower and jog down some stairs. Traitor's Gate is made of wooden beams with iron bars running through them. Here's another picture of just the Traitor's Gate. It's sealed shut, but Jerry grabs the bars and shakes them, making loud wailing noises. You look around embarrassed, worried that other people might see or hear you, but there's no one near. It seems as though you're alone. As you watch your friend goof off, fog rolls in. Mixed with the grayness of the surrounding castle, the thick haze makes it difficult to see. Ravens call from above. A chilly wind sweeps over you. You shiver as you zip up your jacket. "Come on," you say, grabbing Jerry's arm. "We should catch up with the guide." You don't want to admit to your friend, but you're getting a little creeped out. The sun is setting, casting long shadows over the area, and you don't want to get left behind by your group. You walk back inside the tower walls, but you don't see your tour group anywhere. Actually, with the heavy fog, it's difficult to see much of anything. What you can see is the ominous white tower straight ahead. The oldest part of the Tower of London, it stands 90 feet tall, rising above even the gray fog. "I think our group was headed to Tower Green, or maybe the Queen's house," Jerry says, looking around. You can hear how unsure he is. Tower Green is an open, grassy lawn where several executions took place. The Queen's house is rumored to be one of the castle's most haunted buildings. You know that the tour was making a stop at each place, and they're both close. You just can't remember which one was first. They're both in the same area, at least. So here's our choice. To go to Tower Green, turn to page 15. To go to the Queen's house, turn to page 17. So I'm going to turn to page 17 to go to the Queen's house. "The Queen's house is to our left," Jerry says, pointing. "From what you know of this building, it's where resident governor lives. He's in charge of the day-to-day operations that happen at the Tower of London. You follow Jerry. In the fog, you can't see anyone around you. You don't hear anyone either. It's as if you and Jerry are all alone. Seemingly out of nowhere, you're in front of the white and brown trimmed Queen's house. Its half wooden construction makes it seem less aged than the stone buildings around it. You reach out to touch the wall. As you extend your arm, a faint noise catches your attention. Now what? Jerry asks, looking around. There's no one here. Quiet, you say, hushing your friend. I thought I heard something. You hear a whispered name. William? It drifts through the fog. I think it's coming from inside, Jerry says, looking at the Queen's house. William? The voice, a woman's voice, calls out again. It's a little louder than before. You think the woman sounds as if she might need help. You take a step toward the building. There is a door in front of you. William? The voice comes again, sounding more desperate. You take another step forward, but Jerry grabs your arm. We can't go in, your friend says. Someone actually lives there. And here's our second choice. To go in and find the woman, turn to page 23. To stay outside and look for your tour group, turn to page 35. And here's a picture of the Queen's house. And what it says at the bottom caption there is, legend says that certain rooms of the Queen's house are off limits to women. The ghost of the Gray Lady haunts any woman who tries to stay the night. All right, so check out these two and all the other You Choose books in the horror and paranormal section of our library.